So right now, where are the county schools as far as what testing's going on?
So right now we're doing iLearn. We finished up iRead in March, and then they will retest in May, those that didn't pass, both second and third grade. And then we will do some remediation over the summer and test again. So we get lots of opportunities at least to get them to pass.
Yeah, so let's talk a little more about iRead. I know it's been discussed a lot, but it's now offered in second grade as well as third grade, which I think is a pretty cool opportunity.
It is, and we opted in the first year that they said, hey, you can opt in for second grade iRead. I think it was a great option, and I think it especially with a high stakes test like that, it's really good to give them chances. And for you to know where they are in second grade so that all of third grade they can work on those skills and then be more successful. So I think it's a good deal.
And so as they progress, is there help offered based on how they're doing? Like as they take it, say they take it and they don't pass, but there's different opportunities for assistance to get them to that passing opportunity.
Our title teams work really hard with those kids on those skills. Our teachers work relentlessly. Overall, we have a really high pass rate for second grade too. So I think we're pretty successful. I think the iRead test is very fair as far as that goes. You're always going to have a couple kids that just can't pass it, but you work really hard, and most of the time we get those kids to pass. I think right now North has 2 third graders that need to pass it yet this year, and that's it. And maybe 10 second graders. So
very high percentage.
Yeah, and South isn't far behind that. So, it's a fair test.
And so if they pass in second grade, they're done. There's no retesting in third grade.
Right. Yeah, so it's funny when I look up the data, you see the scores and you think, oh, only 20 kids took the iRead 3. Well, that was all that needed to. So,
that was it.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting. My nephew, he's in third grade this year, but second grade took it last year, passed it. But it was almost like the stress level wasn't as high in second grade, so it wasn't a second thought for him. Right. He's like, well, now it's done.
Yeah, and it's their first experience at it, and they just do it, and they're good, and they move on. There's
no thinking. So then we've got iLearn going on.
iLearn.
So tell us a little bit more about what iLearn is.
So iLearn is 3 through 8. It's not as high stakes, but it is still it's stressful. There's a lot to it. It's lengthy. So I learn English, math, science, and social studies. So it is kind of lengthy. I mean, it takes a good week if they do it each day. Sometimes they stretch it out along 2 weeks, just depending on the testing part of it. So.
Now, with the results that come out of iLearn, how is that data used for students?
So it's used in school all the time. I mean, especially elementary and junior high level teachers, they really use their data to know what to teach and what areas need to be worked on. iRead is the same way. They look at those skills and they say, okay, we really need to hit this with this group because every group is different. And so where one group may really pick up a few of the standards really well, then the next group, that may be a weakness. So then, they hit those things. With the checkpoints, it's been interesting this year because the checkpoints are kind of taking the place of NWEA. We probably won't do that all the way through anymore just because 3 times a year with NWEA, 3 times a year with checkpoints, then the end of the year testing. It's a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And the checkpoints are supposed to tell us where they are on these standards. The data hasn't been maybe as fruitful as we would like it to be, but I think it's supposed to get better. I mean, it's the initial.
You have to refine.
Right. And so I think as we move along, it's going to become much more valuable to us, those checkpoint data, as far as where the kids are in relation to passing iLearn.
So iLearn currently going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I know, we always say make sure they eat breakfast and they get sleep. But there are a lot of vital pieces to having your student ready,
Oh, yes.
each day, being at school and being successful with that test.
Oh, yeah. Try to keep it low stress, low key, but making sure that their needs are met going into the day because if they come in hungry or tired, they don't do well.
There's no focus.
Right. If they come in and something traumatic has happened at home, like there were a couple times that we had students whose dog got hit on the road, that morning or whatever. And so you try to take that into consideration and maybe that kid doesn't test that day. Maybe you make them up at a later time. Just those kinds of things, making sure that they stretch. Like as a teacher, I used to make them run in place and do jumping jacks and kind of move a lot beforehand and in between, just to make sure that they could refocus their minds and get back to the test.
Almost keeping them stimulated.
It is.
Because as you sit too long, any of us know,
Yeah.
you start to lose focus and attention span and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember even back when we did, I think it was the CAT or something, California Achievement Test.
Yes.
But it was the little Scantron, and it was so hard, and it was stressful.
Just zoning in, right? I know. I think about those because you had to cover on the bubbles, and they had to be just right, and you couldn't be outside of it.
You couldn't miss one or throw everything off.
Yes.
Yeah, so things have changed, but kind of not.
So is testing all done on an iPad, or how is testing performed now?
Yeah, it depends on the grade level. It's almost all on devices, whether it's iPad or Chromebooks, depending on what grade levels use what. There are a few that still, with their IEPs, do paper pencil, but for the most part, it's all done electronically. But we also get results a lot quicker because it's electronic, so that's a good
Submit it
thing.
and go, right?
Yeah, used to we wouldn't get results until late summer. Now they're saying this year just a couple days.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So, and which is I think nice for students as
It
well
is.
because you know
Yes.
what's happening and
Yeah.
what next year looks
Yeah.
like. So.
iRead started that. We would get results really quickly with iRead, and now they finally got the iLearn to that point too.
So nice. So
It
much
is.
better than weeks and wait. You'd wait for it to come in the mail. I still remember that.
Yeah, I know.
How did you do? So as we move into the end of the school year, what's that look like for your position and getting ready for next year?
Lots of things. It's, trying to making sure that the teachers have the right curriculum that they need. Right now, we've been looking at science for the last 2 years just because of the textbook funding and different things going on there. And I think that we're moving towards being a PLTW district. So that means that K through 12 will be using PLTW, although we will supplement here and there to make sure all the standards are met. So it's making sure teachers have the right things, that they're getting the training over the summer that they need. I'm hopefully going to pull teachers in the summer and do some curriculum mapping and some common assessments just to try to help them know where their kids are uniformly across the district. We haven't done that in a few years, so that's some of the things that we're doing. We've got AP testing coming up. It's a lot of testing at the end of the year, so just making sure everything's finalized. We're getting schedules out. We're getting kids placed in schedules for next year. So it's been working a lot with both school administrators at the
changing curriculum or going to a new program. How does what's that roll? Is that roll out within a summer and you hit it the next fall, or how does that look?
Yes. So with PLTW, we will have a lot of training that has to happen. So we can do it a couple different ways. We can bring PLTW in and they can do training over a couple of days with all of our staff, or we can have a train the trainer. So we already have we have several people trained in PLTW, different courses here and there, and we can use them to do a train the trainer. Then they can work with the staff and they have a little bit longer to get that done. So maybe we take a day at the beginning of the school year and do some training, and then maybe some PLCs throughout the year just to finish it.
It's not an easy task to just flip over curriculum. It's
No.
not like here's a new book, go.
Yeah, it's not. It really isn't. There's a lot of training that needs to go into it. Textbooks are so expensive, and with PLTW, there's a lot of grants within the system because they get a big grant from Purdue, I think. And so there's a lot of grants within the PLTW system that we can apply for, therefore not putting that textbook money onto our bills.
Yeah.
So, it's no longer back onto the parents, which is what we used to look at. But now it's, how much can we afford to do?
And there's, and not to go political, but with the SB1 at state right now, there's a lot of uncertainty of what funding is going to look like.
Yes, there always is, but it's more so in the last couple of years than ever.
So then let's talk higher grades, because you guys offer a lot of AP courses now. They earn college credits. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are graduating with associate's degrees as they're heading into their bachelor's.
Yeah. And that's a great thing, especially when North became certified as an early college. Some kids, I know my own sons graduated, the twins, so the younger two, I think graduated with 32 credits, and now I think they're graduating with well more than that. So, yeah, kids are getting a big jump on life, really, and what they can do. Now, they still have to sometimes retake things when they get to college, just depending on their program, but at least we know that the colleges will accept their credits.
And so many, I mean, if they're coming out with, a lot of them, like I said, an associate's, that's taken 2 years of college debt.
Yeah.
Off the top.
And for some of our kids, that's all they want.
Yeah.
And it enables them to go and get a good job doing whatever it is that they're interested in.
Yeah, it's a great program. I'm like, I'm jealous. I'm sure you know, when we were, I was like, that'd been great.
It would have. It would have. And I think I would have been one that would have graduated with, you know, my associates, because I took all of those higher level classes and stuff. So, yeah, it would have been nice.
The trade-off is good. Now, you've got a preschool that'll be at North Decatur this year. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I think they're still looking for a few kids to fill out and round out their spots. So now we'll have one on both ends of the county, which is outstanding.
Very exciting.
South's is really going well. They've got a lot of kids in there. They may have 1 or 2 spots open. And so now we've got this going at North Decatur, and I think that that's so beneficial for our families.
How many preschool openings are there at each school? Do you know?
You know, I'm not really sure. I think North probably has about 5 to 8 left, and I think South has just a couple. Yeah.
So with that starting at North new this year, were they able to mock some of that from South Decatur?
Yes.
Or is this okay?
Yes. Yeah. You know, why reinvent the wheel if you've got something going well? And and they're certified. You know, so they both have gotten the certifications that they need from the state, the paths to quality and all of that. So it's really going to be a good thing. The room looks amazing at North. I went through it just last Friday. We had a state rep come in, Lindsay Patterson.
Yeah.
And so she got to see some things in the school, and we took her into the new preschool room as well.
Very nice. That's exciting. Who's going to be teaching preschool this year? Do you know?
I knew you would ask me that. I can tell you whose daughter she is. I can't think of her name.
It's great when you can correlate, right? No, that's okay.
Yeah, so.
That's exciting, though. That's a great kickoff. And again, to have it on both ends of the county.
Yes.
Just need to live in the district to get registered for preschool? How do you...
I would call the school and see.
Okay.
You may not have to live in the district.
Okay.
So.
And do you know the age requirement? Is it just...
It's 4. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably potty trained. Or close to.
Probably.
And then, of course, kindergarten registration took place a little bit ago, but you can still get your kiddo in there.
Yep. Call the schools and get signed up. I know both are still doing that right now. They had, I think, the kindergarten roundup last week, maybe.
Okay.
And so they're still, of course, get signed up for kindergarten.
Yeah. Do you know that it's 5, but I don't know the date this year. Do you? August?
I think
August
it's still
1st,
August
maybe?
1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of time to get that done before school starts.
That's
though.
right. And then we're getting ready to go into prom season. I think this Friday or this Saturday is North.
Yes.
And then next Saturday is South. So lots of prom going on. And
then it'll be graduation, just like that.
I know. It's crazy how quickly. You blink and it's like, oh my gosh, we're almost done with the school year.
It just seems like you have spring break and then it's over.
It really does.
It's the end. So.
Yeah.
And spring sports are fully in swing
they
now.
They are in swing. Yeah. We've got all the spring sports going on. I think we've got Battle of the Books just happened. I'm trying to think. Grandparents' night and art shows going on at both ends of the county. You know,
Math Bowl last night. Maybe did I read? I feel like I read that this morning.
Maybe.
I think maybe.
Maybe.
So.
I'm trying to think what else is going on.
I know last weekend North had their musical, and then they had their craft show during the day. They had just a full day at North Decatur.
They did. Yeah, the musical Grease, and I heard it was great. I didn't get to go.
I didn't either. I ran out of time, but we had the kids in here, and they were so excited and so ready for it.
And I usually try to hit the musicals on both ends of the county. The kids do such a phenomenal job, and I didn't get to go to either end this year. So I guess I'll get back to it next year. Be better, but
it happens.
It does.
Life gets busy.
Life gets really busy.
Yeah. Anything else going on that we need to know about coming up?
I don't think so. I know Mrs. Stone wanted me to let everybody know that April 26th they're having a car show.
Is that at North Decatur?
Yep. No, at South Decatur. Decatur. Yeah. Okay. And really, it's just full swing trying to get things done for the end of the year. Everybody remember that Rob Smith is retiring.
Can you believe it? I never thought we would see that. It's kind of like when Gary Cook retired the very first time, because he keeps coming back, right? But yeah, it's so. Now, has it been announced who will be taking Rob's position yet?
No, we will be doing interviews in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, it should be interesting. It's hard to replace somebody that's been there a lifetime, it feels like.
Yeah, a very, very long legacy, which is not a bad thing.
No, it's a great thing.
You know, I love to, for people that don't know, I was a school nurse out there, but I love to talk to people that are like, Mr. Smith was the principal and I was there, and now he has my kids, and I'm like, I know, he's got to see the whole realm.
Right. I know Mrs. Stone likes to give him a hard time because I think he was principal when she was a 6th grader.
Okay.
So he wasn't quite there when I was there, but I'm a little older than they are. So.
So yeah, he'll be done the end of May then. We'll finish up his stuff.
Yeah. So we're excited for him. Good for him.
New chapter for Mr. Smith. Yeah. So, yeah.
But you know, the schools are doing great. We've got a great team.
Any teacher openings at this point? Or
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think right now we're full moving forward. So it's just trying to get everybody in the right spots and the right classes and that kind of thing.
Do the end of the year shuffle.
Yep.
You never know where you're going and where your classroom's going to end up, but.
And you know, as a teacher, I kind of enjoyed something new every so often. I taught 5th grade for a long time. Yeah. I think when we were together at North, I taught 6th grade.
Yes, I think you were.
Yeah. Yep. But I kind of like those middle school age kids.
They have that independence and they're getting their own ideas.
Yeah. And when I was at the high school, I still love the junior high age kids. You know, they're funny, they're quirky, but they still love teachers and they still love going to school. So
they do. Yeah. I love to watch them evolve. Like,
yes.
it's just a cool, like, especially I think that 5th to 8th grade, like you just see them transform
into young adults.
Yes.
And yeah. They do. They become the people that they're going to be, really.
Yes. Yeah. It's just so cool for me to see that. I'm like, wow, look at what they were and where they've come.
And it's funny because just the other day I was at Walmart and a student, Mrs. Hawker, and I turned around. It was from one of my first, classes that I had at South, and we talked for a long time, and he was shocked that I remembered him. But you just never really forget.
You don't. No, I still get lots of Nurse Emily's from all over.
Yeah.
And it's you don't though. I think you whether you have a close connection or you've just been with them at some point, you just don't forget those faces. Yeah. I think most teachers feel that way.
Yeah.
You just.
Once they're your kids, they're always your kids.
They're there. Yeah. Well, you guys are doing great things at the county schools. We love to watch it all happen, and you guys stay so busy. There's just always activities, and I love that.
There are, and with 4 schools, there's always something going on. But I think we have a phenomenal staff. I would put them up against anybody, statewide, not just in the county. They're great. They're there for the right reasons. They love kids, and they come in and do their job to the best that they can every day. So
we hope everybody has a great summer break, and you get curriculum where it needs to be, and get everybody situated, and we'll go into a great school year next year.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, if anything comes up, let us know. We'll be sure to pass it along. Registration is open, so kindergarten and preschool.
Yep. Yeah. And if you're wanting to transfer to one of the county schools, make sure it's done before August 1st.
August 1st. Okay. And is there a transfer form that has to be filled out?
There is.
Okay. So central office to get all of that business.
So.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks for coming in this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's 7:51 on Tree Country 1330. We'll be back in just a minute.